Hi there, welcome back to the Kenny Veach MCave case. Today we've got a few things to get through, one of which involves WarLike Raf defending himself yet again because of others out there complaining, whinging and whining. I need to set the record straight. I need to give an explanation to the impetuous individuals out there. In addition, we can catch up with the comments like I said we were going to do so in a separate video, a discussion-based one, where people that are currently here in this live premiere, welcome to those that are currently here, can share your own thoughts and ideas as we do go along. This video, people can listen in, but you can also share your thoughts because it is more of a deeper discussion. I'm aware that last night was pretty quiet, so I guess people were taking it all in, which I guess is a nice thing to see here and there, right? With past encounters being a bit disruptive, last night was relatively fine. As a heads up to people that were wondering as to why it was possibly quiet last night, well, that's because Bob Farrell was doing his own live stream. So as you know, kind of like in the past when other people were doing live streams, people move on over to other areas, and then at times when one's ended, people move on to the next. So that is a good way of determining who is who and where people are at. And we already came to that cycle and conclusion in the past. So it gives a heads up. As I've always said, it can be, depending if people are still around in general, it can be 19 to maybe 30 people watching, and then the other 20 will come on in when there's nothing else going on, right? So hopefully that explains it to the people that might think, oh, where's that person? I've not seen them for a bit or not seen them recently. It's because they could be elsewhere, okay? They're not completely gone for good. They're just looking about elsewhere, right? Though today will be different because this is about the Kenny Veach MCave case. Last night was about Dylan Rounds, a focused map analysis, an interesting perspective from a different person of interest. If you are interested in that, you need to catch up on the video. Check my video out from last night. I'll try and provide a link, top right corner of the screen, the I symbol, and also the playlist to this Kenny Veach case if you do need to catch up there. Shout out to the odd couple of people that have been looking back at my past Kenny Veach videos. I know there's a lot to get through, but I also understand that maybe it's hard to keep up or it's hard to look back when it's so deep. But the people that have managed, that's really good, and it just helps better understand the case, right? Because it's okay for me to sit here and say, well, that's suspicious and that's odd and that person's lying. But if you've come on in and you're not quite familiar with everything, you might not know how to think or where to start from. It can be overwhelming, right? Hence why when I'm covering this case, I still make references back to trying to help people along, right? Because new people have come along. Some people have come from the Dylan Rounds community and have shifted over to the Kenny Veach case community. No harm in that. But obviously there's some people out there that don't like the idea of it or the recent research by me, which is a bit odd because technically speaking, if you keep a case alive, you do research, you allow people to learn the truth and the facts in the background, you allow people to see, better documentation, a stronger form of evidence, because as you know, people do like their evidence. And if that's not good enough, well, I don't know what is. But we'll get deeper into that later on in this video, so make sure not to go anywhere, okay? For those that are currently here, as I said, welcome, share your thoughts and opinions. And for those that are joining late, watching on replay, leave your comments down below in the comment section. You can always get back to them at a later point. Just like with the last two Kenny Veach videos that I did, I'll be looking at those comments, answering any questions if needed, and seeing what other people have had to say in recent time to the recent discussions. As I said, I've done a bit of a little series recently with Kenny Veach, looking at it from different angles, points of views, like Susan Veach, those text conversations, those emails, and the police report, a range of different stuff, very interesting, right? It'd be good to see what people think about it all, whether they agree, disagree, if they've seen or heard other stuff. We can combine it all together, right? Is there anything else to highlight in this video? Well, we'll just see how things go, okay? I think in general, as I said, when it gets closer to Christmas, slow down a bit. I'm on a bit of a deadline at the moment with these important videos, right? The police report one and the one before that needed to be done as soon as possible. The next one that needs to be done is just comparing and contrasting with Sharon Pilgrim, the girlfriend, of her original comment on Kenny's channel, and comparing that to the official police report, because there's some inconsistencies there. I wasn't going to do that tonight because I felt it might be too repetitive to what I did with the police report, right? Still do it soon, so it's fresh in people's minds, but I just want to do a before and after, and I think it's probably best suited for tomorrow or the day after. Be on the lookout for that. For now, let's just catch up, right? Catch up with what everybody's had to say recently, and as well defend myself in the process. For those that have come from the Dylan Rounds case and community, yes, welcome back. We got a little bit of drama and conflict, but as said, when it involves me, I've got to defend myself, and that's exactly what I will do. And when I can, that's what I'll do, okay? So let's just kick things off, get to the comments of the YouTube videos, and see where we are. I'll just adjust the count to the newest, and we can start from the bottom. There might be a fair few comments to get through, but I'll try and read them through efficiently. We got Cleo there. We got Mr. C, we'll call him, saying, impressive detective work from afar. Nice work, appreciate that. I'm in that area often, and you seem to be the only clear view of this case. I appreciate that. Don't care for all the other added mystery from other places far off, like the connections to Area 51. Look forward to hearing down to earth information. Okay, well, that's good comment, what you said there. That's appreciated. As a heads up, Mr. C, there are times where I will look at those mysteries or sub-mysteries, but only when there's a valid point to be made, or, you know, a valid comparison. If there's been findings and footage, there's no harm in that. But when things do need to be debunked, I'll make sure in doing that, as I've previously done it already. Mr. C also says, Craig McVeigh has a lot more serious stuff going on over thousands of square miles of some of the gnarliest terrain in the US. Regardless of the storyline, they're not going to be up for any what-ifs. They're busy saving lives daily. Right. Mr. C says, if this gets more exposure and more people are going down mine shafts looking for info related, search and rescue will be pissed. They will enlist detectives and uncover an alive Kenny and hit him with serious penalty. So yeah, Kenny will be pissed. Hit me up. I'll go over to his house, but I won't go to that worthless shaft, that's for sure. I also won't go off far away to Area 51 and get told to piss off. Right, okay, what was the response? Smooth Fishing saying, there is no law just packing up, leaving everything behind. They can't charge him for anything unless they can prove he faked his death. All he has to do and say is, I didn't fake my death, and just upped and left everything and everyone behind. And this is like one way of looking at it, okay? Some people could praise Kenny for being so creative and disappearing and creating a mystery behind, and other people could be annoyed because they felt betrayed. But what about the in-between, where a person's supposedly gone missing and maybe it was planned and Kenny knows what he was doing, and some of the family members too, but it also led to general public volunteers who genuinely care going out there, some of them at least, trying to find Kenny. And if at any point any of them got injured or hurt, would it be on Kenny? Would it fall on Kenny for that? I mean, it's voluntary going out there in the first place when searching and looking about, but still, if you got people that care and they might be emotionally connected, who knows who's out there, who gets involved with this case, and if somehow they get physically hurt out there, it kind of does fall on Kenny. But I guess the likes of Susan Veach has advised other hikers that it's possibly not worth going out there because Kenny simply isn't. Now, I do understand it from both sides. Some people could interpret Susan Veach's comment as off-putting. Oh, don't go out there. There's no point. It's a waste of time. That could be seen as a bit of resistance. Some people could say it's kind of suspicious. Why are you advising us not to go out there? Are you hiding something? What is out there? Do you know? Are you covering up the secrets? That's how some people would interpret the response. The other side of the story would be Susan is advising others not to go out there because she doesn't want to see any innocent people get hurt by the hands of Kenny, who has conned everyone, right? So there's two sides to the story, two different interpretations. I'm just covering it in general, holistically, to demonstrate that balance, right? Let me know your thoughts, yeah. What's this one? Only for Survivor says, I've been subbed to your channel for 4 years, if not more. It's crazy. Kenny Veach is still a topic. So 4 years, that's quite some time, because 4 years ago, I wasn't even covering the Kenny Veach case. So, to be honest, I don't even know what videos I was doing back then. It's been quite some time. Would have been 2019, 2018 or so. I think around 2019, 2018, I had about 170 subscribers. So kind of come a long way ever since. So shout out for being around for that, length of time. Mr. C also says the alien narrative is ridiculous. I was there Saturday, petroglyphs and old mines that no one is supposed to go get hurt out there. Not much else, no giant caves anywhere, nothing in them when they're there. Thousands have passed through. The mystery is whether there is a missing hiker stuck between two boulders half eaten by critters. Now the real mystery is whether Kenny evaded issues by faking his death. Simple in the end, no. Response-wise, Jeff Clark getting involved. So you were there Saturday, but have no photos or videos posted and thousands have passed through? Lol, talk about ridiculous. Mr. C says, yes, thousands over the years. I was one range over where the good stuff is. That area has little of interest outside of Kenny effing with you all, and many people turning it into clickbait. But it's comical listening to everyone's ridiculous theories. Jeff saying, so you were driving down the highway, one range over, and decided that you are now an MK expert and everyone else is ridiculous. Got it. Mr. C says, you don't have to be totally clueless, not driving down a highway out there off-road. Yeah, please go searching for M Cave, please. I mean, Jeff's been out there already. Jeff says, so you were driving off-road, which makes you an M Cave expert, and yet you still know pictures of your off-road driving in the DNWR, since you are so close and such an expert about what is and not ridiculous about Sheep Range. Hike out to Picture Canyon, and let's see if you come back saying the same things. Oh, and you'll have to get out of your truck for that. Mr. C says, dude, you're a bit far off clueless. I don't want to rain on your alien parade or those of us dreaming up mystery terrain in Google Earth, but I'm out there always. I know the land well. I drive a Jeep, not a truck, and go all over. I don't go in mines. I don't F with the shit you all are doing, sending people out to see old cattle camps and mining sites, ignoring all that history and only serving an online fascination with conspiracy. This place is not linked to Area 51. There is no military bunch of secret crap anywhere near Picture Canyon. That canyon is not as interesting as others. It's small, and he walked up and over Wild Horse Pass and then down through Picture in video later. Who knows, maybe he went on to the cabin in the hidden forest. Well, Scott Natal went up that way and SB, and they didn't find Kenny. But now, that short route with an obsessed with the M Cave is on fire in YouTube. Kenny is not there, and the reasons why are clear to those who are out there and search and rescue. If you all want to climb up on shelves of chossy sandstone with snakes and potential search and rescue work, go ahead, sorry to bother you. Like Kenny, I go for minerals and solitude. Kenny would not be happy with the masses cluelessly sliding down slopes, collecting cholo with your ass and disturbing mining history, all whilst completely ignoring the geology, which was about the only draw to this location prior to Kenny deciding it was time to disappear. This spot is by a, freeway? I don't know. Go deeper and it's better. Take a SATCOM water and fully functioning brush if you go. If you want to do it right, take a drone. Don't go up, don't down. Sketchy stuff. Fly a drone. Don't go into a shaft. Nothing in there that decades prior has not been deemed not worth the risk. Learn a geology and you know what you're looking at. Imagine all the geologists around rolling their eyes at your RF meter. Ha ha ha. Wear snake boots if you're off trail exploring. Solo is not the end of the world, but sounds like none of these people should be doing that. Now, if you want to go to this spot and quickly realize there is nothing there, you can then go see interesting stuff all throughout this area for hundreds of miles in every direction. A good start is where Kenny would go. Would now north, hidden, forest cabin, and go up. You can keep walking past through some small towns and more on your way to Area 51. The obsession is strong. Rock art minerals. Right, there was a lot to say there. Jeff says, so a guy who drives his Jeep around the DNWR and all over doesn't know the drones are not allowed out there, and a guy who admits he doesn't do any exploring beyond a steering wheel or looking at rocks wants to give advice to others about how to actually hike and explore. Talk about ridiculous. Is anyone clueless about this case and its location? It is you, so stop lecturing others and making yourself look idiotic. You actually sound a lot like Gene Lokowski, who made a lot of claims and did a lot of lecturing but actually produced nothing. If anyone's wondering who Jeff Clark is a person that's been around on this case for quite some time and also hiked out there and even recorded his hike out there, both 2017 with photos and I think 2022 with video footage on his channel. It's all there. Make sure to check out Jeff Clark's channel. We got CY saying, I know you said if Kenny was taken by government, then where is the cave? Maybe it wasn't a cave, but a door to another dimension and closed, so that's why no one has found it. You never know. All kinds of weird stuff could happen out there. Who knows? I think it was SB that also suggested that there could be some kind of portal out there. I know Sean WarLike mentioned it in the past too. We've got Glenn, we've got Cleo, creepy behaviour, right? Very clean, right? James Dunbar, shout out to James, saying, Kenny was dressed as a cowboy in his house video. Wonder if he always dresses up like that. Sharon said in a comment on her 10th, 11th, 14th pick that she worked at a Wyoming ranch. Oh, okay. I don't know how common the Veach name is. However, I've come across other Veachers that are into horses and rodeo on the webs. Sharon has a family in California. Her nonchalant attitude of, oh, he's already dead, don't rush to find him, is very odd. If they were partners at one time, were they close? If so, you'd think she would have done more and been more worried. Bizarre behaviour. Interesting. Susan Veach, sister-in-law to Kenny Veach, responds, saying, Kenny did not dress like a cowboy unless maybe he was going to an event, rodeo, etc. He claims he is a cowboy, but he grew up in a double-wide mobile home close to Sam's Town in Las Vegas. I think the other thing is when it comes to Kenny Veach, when you see him on his hike videos and photos from Facebook, he never really dressed up as a cowboy there. He dressed up as maybe like a regular hiker, what you would expect. And when it came to Kenny Veach attending these, I forgot what you call them, fairs, fates in the past, like medieval in the past, dressing up. You know, we've seen the odd photo there. I don't know if it's on his channel or on his Facebook page, but it's somewhere. I can't remember the exact word for it. It's sword fighting as well, possibly, over that way. Anyway, moving on. Bungee cord. If Kenny really went out there to end his life, would he really go to all the trouble to hide his body where it would be impossible to find? What would the point be? There was no suicide, no, he just decided to walk out on his life and start anew. I wouldn't be surprised if he transitioned to a woman. Oh no. Oh no, not the transitioning to a woman theory. We know where that came from originally. A certain somebody that had major issues with me decided to slander my name, defamation of character, and even tried impersonating me. How sad. But yeah, what else do we have here? We got a very dodgy profile there. Society, Coyotes, and Smooth Fishing saying that's what I've been saying all along. Why would he go hide to kill himself? Doesn't make sense. The other important point to highlight is, whilst the girlfriend was the one that said Kenny left his phone at the mineshaft, which was true, the girlfriend said the reason why that happened, why Kenny lightly left it at the mineshaft, was so he couldn't be traced. He couldn't be tracked down to his spot where he may have died. But what doesn't make sense is, if you're initially going out to a location to end things and you do not want to be found at all, then why bother taking your phone with you to begin with? Just leave it at home. Why did Kenny bother taking it with him, right? Because it said in the morning, at 6 in the morning, before Kenny Veach left, he sent the girlfriend a text message saying he's going out onto the hike. So after that text message, you should just leave your phone at your home, go out there, finish what you need to do, and then that's it. But doesn't seem to be the case, so it kind of goes against the whole suicide claim. JW saying, WarLike Ref, you're my favourite YouTuber. Well, that's good to hear, appreciate that. We got Geo saying, to me it feels like they weren't still searching for Kenny and it feels like they're hiding information on where Kenny is, but that's what I think. Okay. Susan says, no, search and rescue did all they could. They went back year after year searching for him. They take their orders from Metro, and Metro's point of contact and intel came from Sharon. Gio says, so is the investigation still going on with search and rescue in 2023? Have they found no clues and evidence? I still have belief they can find Kenny and keep up the work. Susan says, no, they said they have no future plans to search for Kenny. Well, there we go. Maybe they'd only got searching again if there was more groundbreaking findings, if there was. Smooth fishing, great video, appreciate that. Jack Pepper saying, did anyone collect life insurance on Kenny Veach? I mean, that's been the discussion for some time now. It's never been cashed in or cashed out, whichever way you word it, and they mention it in the documentary too. Jack saying, Kenny Veach living on Vegas Skid Row. Light bulbs, so he left all his stuff behind in the mountains and went homeless in a tent district. Right, because that makes sense. I mean, finding a tent and sword, a bamboo sword out there, doesn't seem to make much sense. Finding Crystal Skull out there doesn't quite make sense. Finding weird paranormal voices, it's kind of weird, and other hikers going out there, experiencing it for themselves, and footsteps, all this happening in that space of area doesn't quite make sense. It's a bit odd, right? So if odd things can happen, then odd things can happen with Kenny as to where he could actually be, right? I know Scott Natal went looking in the homeless area of Las Vegas to see if Kenny Veach was around and asked homeless people, and they said they didn't know who Kenny was. Tom saying, hi. Lightbulb guys saying, yeah, that's true. Sometimes younger people come into the case and make up stories and start rumours. But yes, I was mentioning the agave burn pits, etc., to say that something paranormal could be, to explain all the weird sounds, etc. That happened in Kenny's video. I've seen it all of Jay Chuck's videos. He always mentioned having odd feelings out there too, even though he's mostly quit the Kenny Veach case since those uploads. I think the interesting thing is with Jay Chuck, whilst everybody else was a little bit cautious of Joe May Canyon, at the time, Jay Chuck was quite relaxed when he was out there. He said it was peaceful, it was calm. That calm, and supposedly feeling that secure out there, that Jay Chuck decided to spend the night out in Pitcher Canyon somewhere with no tent, sleeping on the ground. And he was perfectly okay with that. Fast forward onwards, when Jay Chuck's been out there since, he has mentioned about hearing voices or sounds, and it's a bit creepy and all kinds of stuff going on out there. So there has been a shift. For someone to be so spiritually in tune with the area and relax and at one with nature, to then go to being cautious and experiencing some more darker elements, that's a very interesting change, right? What's this about? For the other part, I'm sorry, it was an older fellow who commented on SB Vegas Adventures who mentioned the collapsed tunnel when SB went into the shaft. I researched this case so heavily, I sometimes have to go back and check my sources. Fair enough. Jeff Clark saying the collapsed filled-in tunnel in the mine appears to be in the northeast corner. It looks like it went off to the northeast under the mountain. It appears to have gone deeper as well. That crushed white gravel in that corner forms a perfect tunnel shape and looks like it was filled in to close an entrance. It's just the right east of the original Crystal Skull, and you can see that in my pictures and from the videos of others who went down there. So while some people believed originally that Kenny may have been in the mine shaft and things fell on top of him, caved in or whatever you would call it, as time shifted by, others have said that maybe Kenny Veach went into the mine shaft, went into one of those tunnels higher up, and then it was filled in. And that's why can't find him, and that's why descent ended there. There's different ways of looking about it. What else do we have? We got Red Bull Soul saying, please don't go missing. This case of Kenny Veach might uncover some really disturbing truths that the government decided to keep hiding. Many of these missing people are underground. Jeff Clark saying, I'm leaning more and more towards military, alien, paranormal. Very suspicious that the military wants civilians out of the area after Kenny Veach's presence. That's true. Free Kenny Veach. Kenny was full of life and curiosity. Kenny never killed himself. And then we got Joe finally saying, hi Raf, yes, the video I saw was showing the pictoglyphs. How show a pictoglyph of a bunch of pictoglyph lines, possible indicates a vibration, then a circle being drawn outwards may indicate a portal being opened, and another pictoglyphs of a shaman or witch doctor, then another pictoglyph of some sort of creature, So Kenny had a connection with the MK feeling the vibrations. Question. Number 1. Did Kenny find the crystal skull in Skull Canyon? I don't know. 2. Did Kenny open up some kind of portal where something started to chase him, then changed his mind on giving the location of the M cave, believing people may get hurt? 3. Was Kenny a treasure hunter? So I'll try and answer the second and third questions. Number 2, if Kenny Veach was trying to cause misdirection to prevent people from getting hurt, to be honest, I don't think Kenny Veach did a good job at that, and I don't think he does really care if that was the situation, because whether people have got hurt out there since or not, other people have gone out there trying to look for Kenny and /or the M cave. And even if it was in the wrong area where this secret dark portal, original location is elsewhere and Kenny has taken them elsewhere so they don't get hurt, Kenny is still, if alive, created this mystery and led people on a long pathway of danger, especially those that physically go out there. So I wouldn't say it's exactly considerate of Kenny if he is still alive and faked his disappearance. It's not considerate. He's not thinking about the hikers out there who could get injured, right? And number 3, was Kenny a treasure hunter? In a way, yeah. I think Kenny viewed, certain items which other people may never pick up or glance at as treasure. So certain skulls, bones or twigs, collecting all kinds of items for his home decor and telling a story as well within his house, as you've seen in his cowboy video when he's selling his house. What says, I tend to believe he was a crafty outdoorsman, treasure hunter, and may have stumbled onto something valuable and decided not to tell people about it because they would go for it or even go after him. Maybe word got out of him finding lost treasure and some bandits went to look for him. Hard to say. Anyway, thanks. Great channel. Appreciate that. Good of you to say. Jeff Clark does say, Skull Canyon is not really a canyon. It's just a ravine off of Picture Canyon. SB Vegas just called it Skull Canyon as a reference point name, like how he did with his Beast Slope, or like Silver Hills did with his The Cut, which is the cut-off between Wild Horse Pass and Picture Canyon. Hopefully Raph will do an updated map of Picture Canyon for all the new people. The vibrations out there are real and happened to me before, causing me to have half a day of missing time. If the vibrations are caused by portals opening, that could explain why they're so unpredictable. If Kenny found one of those portals open and went inside, that would explain a lot. The sound I list is close to what I heard, but there was also a very fast thumping beat under that sound. That sounds very spooky. So just to answer your point, Jeff Clark, I have done some map videos of Picture Canyon, kind of updated or at least going back over it for new people. I have done that already. And what's this? DJ Moore went into the visitor centre and found a description of the Paituits who would sit in those shallow caves and sing to the wind in order to bring in various paranormal creatures. That could be what those pictoglyphs are showing. Interesting. So that seems to be it there for the comments. Let's move on to the next lot of comments on the other video. Now we've moved on to the next video, and this is to do in relation to Kenny Veach's official police report, where it mentioned all the key details and the original story of how things played out. Let's see what people have had to say about it. Newest comments. There's about 74 comments here, so it's going to take some time. But I'll try and get through it as soon as possible. I've got some emoji trains. I wonder if we're going to get the blessing train at some point too, in the name of Tyler. Some saying yes. Thank you, Susan, saying June. Alexia saying, it seems strange to me that those 4 lines of words from Sharon Pilgrim were enough to convince the police that a man committed suicide. I think one of the reasons why it was enough to convince people and maybe pull the wool over others' eyes is because with Sharon Pilgrim's background in terms of the mental health field high up there, people are going to listen to her more lightly than if it was some random person off the street. Kind of unfortunate, but, positions can play a factor. Alexia says, if it's true that he said he would commit suicide in the mountains where no one would ever find him, why would he return to the mine shaft where he had shot more videos and where many could retrace that route to find him? That's a good point, worded very well. Happened, retraced, but not found. No mention of the broken leg, no fingerprints. Maybe they could have found them at his house for a possible future match together with DNA. But the most absurd thing is Sharon Pilgrim, the work he says he does, she does, mental wellness, problem solving, helping and listening, and lets Kenny go and kill himself? Doesn't quite make sense. No, it doesn't. A police report that seems to have been written only to justify Kenny's absence, but without any particular interest. A lot of data is missing. This whole thing is strange and mysterious. I like to think that Kenny escaped with someone's accomplice, and that he is healthy and safe to cause trouble elsewhere. I believe, however, that he simply died in the desert. No proof. Every thought is open. Sorry for the mistakes. As always, I don't speak English. You might not speak English, but I understood just about everything you said, so you're doing a good job. Let's just see what people said. Thank you for your input. For not speaking English, you did really good. 22 says, your English is fantastic. Take it from me, a British man. Oh, there we go. SAS. Jeff Clark says, British English is not American English, which is considered superior. Some British words I cannot understand at all, especially Welsh or Scottish. Right. What else? Yeah, so the bit where it's about Kenny left his phone at the mine to avoid being found. Yeah, it wouldn't make sense to leave it at home. Alexia says, yes, this is the key to everything. Either something happened right there, but various explorers went and found nothing, or that phone was left to mislead. It makes no sense otherwise. He didn't bring the camera because he wanted to die, but he leaves the phone where everyone would look for it. Kenny, what have you done? Yeah, fair points there. Cleo, you're welcome. Appreciate that. Also, shout out to Cleo last night for her super chats. Very good of her. Key comment by Susan Veach saying, a 2-day hike for Kenny. Sharon says, if I don't hear back in 5 days, yet wait 7 days to report him missing, search and rescue do not start the search until the 11th of the 22nd, 2014. So that's 12 days. Someone was convinced he was dead and no urgency to find him. Search and rescue takes their orders from LVMPD, and a detective, since retired, bought into the suicide theory enough. But 12 days passed before a search was started, all documented. Okay. Then we've got Joe saying, yeah, it does sound suspicious. One, supposedly knowing Kenny was suicidal and phrasing, you better not pull a Robin Williams, but yet waiting days after a supposedly 1-day hike to report him missing does beg the question, where's the concern? Yep. What's this one? Gaming says, oh, hell, how does nobody see that Sharon is definitely the prime suspect to me, and gave the perfect cover-up to exclude herself from investigating. She has the medical field and adds losing house and check-in every 5 days. When you think he's suicidal, why 5 instead of 1 day? Or better yet, why you let him go alone? Thoughts? I think the bit about letting him go alone as for a hike is something that Kenny would normally do, especially those demanding ones. He wouldn't allow other people to go with him because they would get hurt because they're very demanding. But everything else, what you mentioned, yeah, there is stuff to question there. Response-wise, SAS agreeing, spot on. Sunny, great video as always. Circumcised, why, dear Lord. Yeah, it was kind of random, that point there, what was mentioned on the report, but I guess to just note down everything. I'm surprised they didn't say if there was any scars or marks on the person. Didn't see anything like that. Actually, that's a fair point. Why did it not have any details on Kenny's police report about any scars or marks? Because I'm sure Kenny would have some scars on him from his previous hikes. If he said his fingernails would drop off in the past and he blew his leg out, and if he had surgery or an operation, maybe there was some stitching and long-term injuries. You never know. Yeah, wasn't mentioned on the police report. And I know people could say, well, it was an early on report, so there was a limited amount of information people knew of at the time. But if you're reflecting on the past, even back then, before Kenny went missing, Kenny went on other hikes. Before Kenny Veach went missing, Kenny Veach injured himself in the past, blew out his leg. Another time, got bit by a snake, right? Should be mentioned, but it didn't. Jeff Clark says, no reason to wait 7 or even 5 days to report him missing. If she suspected a suicide, what if he was lying out there with a broken leg and no cell service? And this is the other thing. If it was known, and it would have been, that in the past when Kenny Veach blew his left leg out and he needed to be rescued when he was up a mountain peak, I'm sure back then the family, girlfriend would have been concerned and worried about Kenny and said, oh, Kenny, you got to be more careful next time. If we don't hear from you next time round, of radio silence, we're going to get concerned. We're going to be more cautious than ever. We're going to learn from the past because you were in danger back then and you were somewhat vulnerable. And look what happened. 5, 7 days, whatever, not much action taken. So not enough care or concern in a way. Anyway, Andrew Colver says, Jeff Sharon would have been 63, 64 when Kenny went missing. Jeff Clark says she's 66 and he is 47. That's a 19-year difference. I've only heard it as a 19-year difference. That's how it's always been. Right. So Jeff, blonde moment and miscalculated. Boys, all three of us know she's full of shit and nothing seems right with her. If Kenny was actually sick or her being the CEO of a mental health facility, I'm sure she would have got him treatment plus all the small things like that. There's no link between those two on social media. Okay. Rebel, I wonder if Kenny saw something in the cave. Maybe, or when he first went. Jeff Clark, she's 19 years older than him. Certainly not wilderness hiking with Kenny. Certainly not in sheep range. Loop hike would have killed her or injured her maybe. Yeah, that's true. I think it might have been poorly worded in the past by others, by her or news articles where they made it seem like they were together on all the hikes when that wasn't the case. Glenn, I don't believe Kenny is still with us. Certainly it's not a crime to go missing. Okay. Rebel, I think whoever those two girls, Bonnie and the other girl, knows, maybe they sacrificed him to some reptilian lizard cannibal inside the cave. I mean, there's been talk from others that there's reptilians out there hiding in the rock walls, peeking through holes and waiting to come out through the mine shafts at night time. Was that by Really Robin or Sean Horlacker? It could have been a couple of those people. Rebel says, it could be a number of things. If I wanted to fake my death and go completely off the grid, I wouldn't tell anyone about my whereabouts. I hope Kenny is actually watching all your videos and comment section. Hope you're okay out there, Kenny. Response-wise, yeah, the phone situation. Rebel says, that is a fact. Unless them Area 51 guards got him, left his phone there for people to think he's still around. Very interesting case. I'd love to go out there and see it for myself. We have to get to the bottom of this. I'm sure Kenny is one of thousands of people that went missing. Kenny just happened to have it on camera. The feelings he felt around the cave is very mysterious and must be examined, especially the fact that he mentioned skulls and there was a crystal skull found in the cave. I wonder if the people who found the skull are hiding more information. Maybe the skull fell out of Kenny's pocket after being apprehended. Only God knows. Or Area 51 security cameras have some hackers hack any cameras in the desert. Very, very strange activities. I also believe he may have stumbled into a portal. There's many talks of portals to different realms, specifically in desert areas and caves. God bless that man Kenny, wherever he may be. Anything else? That's also weird how the girlfriend assumed Kenny left his phone not to be found. What made her come up with that assumption unless she heard it from the man himself? I wonder if they tried to hide the truth. Smooth Fishing, I'm pretty sure his phone was a flip phone, so it didn't have GPS on it. His girlfriend knows exactly where he is. Was it a flip phone, though? It's 2014. Back then, iPhones did exist. Susan says, great observation to Rebel. Okay, Rebel. Al, thank you. Very informative. You're welcome. I'm glad you enjoyed the video. Cynthia, thanks to whoever gifted me the membership. You're welcome. I was the one that gifted you the membership. And some other people too. We got Cat Loves ASMR saying, still love hearing about this case, speaking about when he put his house for sale, he was running out of money and had no income coming in. The condition for the buyer of the house had to let him live there in a small bedroom and clean the house. No one is going to go for that. Then he disappears. So strange. You could say it was like a moment of desperation, probably. He may have not had enough money to live anywhere else. He loved his home and he didn't want to let it go. So he thought, you know what, I'll make some money off the side of it, but I'll still live there and act like a personal maid. But maybe because people don't normally do that in that area, that's why no one took up the offer. May have found it a little bit creepy, a little bit dodgy, possibly. So that's what then led to Kenny uploading those invention videos, the Shark Tank submission ones, in hopes of being recognised and going from there. But unfortunately, that didn't work out either. What's this one? Lnet. That they classified this as a voluntary disappearance type simply means that the authorities don't have to expend any resources in searching for him. For example, without evidence of a crime, the police don't have to check the pawn shops for his gun. When you pawn a gun in Las Vegas, they take a photo of you and your ID in case it's stolen. Of course, this wouldn't stop someone from selling it for $60 cash to someone at a liquor store parking lot and then hopping a Greyhound to Tijuana. They have no proof. It sounds very specific, that what you said, though. They have no proof of a kidnapping, suicide, etc. It's not illegal for an adult to disappear. Finding the phone out there is odd. It's almost like he was trying to decoy people away from his true destination, maybe. I mean, anyone that comes from the Dylan Rounds case, we remember Kurt Wadsworth, the 31st of May 2022, saying that Dylan Rounds was held hostage in Montello by Chase Venstre, Robert Aviles, which got the attention of the family and the police. Was that a decoy there? If so, to lure people away from the true area so things could go on? Is that what's happening here with the Kenny Veach case? The usage of a phone as a decoy? Maybe. But this is the thing, even if it's just simply voluntary and there's nothing too suspicious going on, if that's what it means in the police report, still, the police report stated nothing about mental health. So, there you go. Nothing about suicide, officially, in terms of the medical report part. Not the supposed story told by Sharon in the police report, but the actual, where you got to enter it in properly from if Kenny Veach has been diagnosed or if there's any notes to be made, official, formal ones, but never happen. What else? This guy, D, saying, friend, you can make a long story about Kenny's unknown third cousins. Pocket lint. I don't know if that's some secret code there. Jeff Clark says, the more you look into this case and location, the more angles you find. Did you know of a quicker way to tell it? Some dodgy stuff going on. As well, the dodgy whip emoji. Glasgow is saying, she says she told him to text when heading out, proof. She says he told her about suicidal thoughts and how he would go about it into the mountains, proof. She says she told Kenny to call every 5 days or she would call the cops, proof. Waits 5 days to call the cops, reports him missing 7 days in. Find a phone next to the mine, everything but the text, and finding the phone is circumstantial, hearsay, all too convenient. I mean, I guess the only bit of proof what they said about Kenny being suicidal was finding on his computer the search history saying help me, help me, help me or something. But it doesn't directly mean help me, I need to be saved. It could be help me, I need money or something. Help me, I need a new job. I don't know. It could follow on that. It was very vague. This person looks like low water pressure. What else do we have? Kostadin Dinov. Hey, WarLike Raf. This isn't necessarily related to the video, but a week or so ago you suggested I watch your videos on the Crystal Skull and Tent and Sword. I did watch them related to Kenny or not. Those were very some bizarre findings. That's true. I'm still interested in the case very much, so I'm catching up with everything. Feel free to take your time. There is a lot to look at, but I appreciate you managing to find all those videos. It can be a lot to take in, but just go at a slow pace. It might be easier to do. What else do we have? A few more comments up here. We got Keith saying, as much as we would like to believe in aliens, the Men in Black, super secret portals, Bob Lazar, playtime is over, folks. It's time we find Mr. Veach. Uh-oh, is this a long comment? Kind of. Okay. Though there is an alternative theory which has some merit. Research indicates caves in the area were used as a dumping ground for Area 51, perhaps hazardous waste. Back in the day, it could be possible he did leave his phone at the mine shaft and went into a cave, though not the M cave, triangular cave, which was used for this purpose. And because of the limited air circulation in caves, toxic gases accumulated, and the moment he ventured deep inside one, he was immediately overcome by toxic fumes and succumbed. But unfortunately, we've not seen any caves deep enough to explore at the end of the day in the area. Because there are many caves in that area, it would be very costly undertaking thoroughly search each and every cave, hence you'll never find me. It's reasonable, purely conjecture on my part, but you could make a case for it. Though my number one prime suspect is still you-know-who, and I still can't discount the theory he went inside a cave only to be attacked by a mountain lion or bitten by a rattler. If only someone didn't leave his phone at the mine shaft as evidence of their involvement, then those alternatives could be more compelling. Keith, please share your own thoughts. All I'd say is, cave out there, portal, or a den for a mountain lion or cave lion, whatever you call it. I think I was going to come up with a prehistoric term then. And some other ideas, exploring caves, dumping ground. The only problem is no one has found any caves out there deep enough to explore. So all those ideas and theories not enough proof has been put out there yet, unless a cave has been filled in, hence why no deep ones can be found. That's the only way around it. Anything else? Coyote says, when it comes to us finding Kenny Veach, the question we need to ask ourselves is, should we find him? Is it clear that Kenny did not want to be found, either because he was running from something or because he did not want people to find his body after self-deletion? Basically suicide. I think maybe we should stop and consider respecting his wishes. Obviously, finding his father's body would have affected him and he would not want to spare his family that same experience, maybe. Also consider that people were most likely after Kenny. The FBI website claims organised crime is still in Vegas and also lists loan sharking as one of the activities. Perhaps Kenny borrowed money from the wrong person and was threatened with death if he did not pay. This would explain the Shark Tank videos making him looking like someone actively trying to get money. Also, I believe the real purpose of the M Cave hike was to showcase the mine. As Aquatica has pointed out, Kenny would have cut the hike considerably by parking at Cow Camp Road. The shorter hike would have cut the mine out of the video completely. Kenny gives directions on how to reach the mine. The same mine where his scent was lost and his phone was found. Sharon waited 6 days, 5, 6, 7 days, to put Kenny enough time to escape or anywhere give organised crime chance. Yeah. Long comments, bloody hell. Look into the 2008 mob hit Buffalo Jim barrier. Not saying it was the same exact Chicago outfit, Kenny, just someone, okay. Susan saying, first of all, Kenny did not find his father's body. I was there that day and I'm the one who called Kenny at work. The police had already been there nearly 2 hours before Kenny arrived home. Honestly, Susan, I don't buy the self-deletion story. It's too convenient. Much of that idea relies on Sharon alone, and I think she's a liar and she helped him disappear. The problem with this case is the misinformation, like the story that he found his father, which was perpetrated online, I think, even on this channel. On this channel? Excuse me. Right. I keep hearing about the comment but was unable to find it. Kenny didn't think anyone would contradict him and they didn't believe anyone other than Sharon would get a copy of the police report, but CNN did and gave it to me. Probably orientated on Reddit. Susan, do you know if anyone tries running a criminal background check on Sharon? I keep wondering if there's any useful tidbits to find. Susan says, I sent DJ Moore some info on two of Sharon's non-profit wellness organisations. Both licenses were revoked. It won't allow me to send a link, but the title of the video is The Shady Got Shadier DJ Moore, name of the video. Also, the homeless shelter she claims to have worked at closed down in 2002. You almost wonder if she's a con artist herself. Susan's saying she's definitely not an innocent bystander. Kinds of stuff going on, right? Anything else? Jack, maybe Sharon Pilgrim was murdered by Sharon. Oh no, two Sharons. And Jay saying the perfect cover for Kenny disappears to go another way totally, and his girlfriend took his phone but aside the mine and she started to tell, went out with the camera, they were suicidal and never find him and so on. It's genius if you want to disappear. Is this you? Is this who? I don't know. Steve, yes, I remember. Hair was wavy. I do find the video interesting. Kenny texted home after last been seen. Okay. A lot of comments to get through there, but I think we catched up in the end. Hopefully reading through those comments may have opened up new discussions or may have continued some. And, some of the questions that I did answer, hopefully they were of help to the people out there. If you do have any more questions or thoughts, let me know in the live chat box, right-hand side of the screen. Welcome to those that are here in this live premiere or have just recently joined. Feel free to catch up on the earlier part of this video if you want to later. And as said, if you do want to elaborate, you want to leave more comments, feel free to do them down below. And also, I don't know if I mentioned earlier, but down below in the pinned comment section, there are some additional links if you wish to check them out. And in relation to supporting the channel, feel free to do so. And yeah, we just keep on moving forwards, I guess. But in the act of moving forwards also comes with receiving resistance, and it looks like that has happened again. And that's what transitions on to the next part of this video. What we're going to do is briefly have a look at a conversation which occurred on J-Chuck's channel. J-Chuck being explorer, hiker out there who's put in a lot of hard work when searching for Kenny Veach, and so have others, as we've referred to. But on J-Chuck's recent video, a question to me about police report and some stuff, Artari tuned in and left her thoughts on what she had to say. In short, Atari wasn't too pleased with my research on this case and how I've gone about stuff. We briefly talked about it in previous videos, but we'll just look at what's recently gone on here and just defend myself in the process, because I know there'll be new people coming on into this case, impressionable people, whether they come directly through my channel or elsewhere, and if they listen to the wrong crowd of people, it can go wrong. Just look at the Dylan Rounds case in Community. It went to shit, didn't it? Eventually things became a bit brighter and lighter, but it took time. Let's try and prevent that from happening here, right? Try and reduce that long-term damage that can come about things. So what I'm going to do now is head on over to the comment section thread where the conflict and drama took place and see what was actually said in relation to me. I might not have to read it all out, I'll just try and pick out the relevant parts, okay? Well, here we are. You see the comments here. Just get through the first one. Jeff Clark says, the police report is what Sharon told the cop. It's not a document stating precisely what happened, it's stating what they were told at the time. But at the end of the day, the material that I provided was official, and it's a form of material. It's a form of evidence documenting at a specific time. Considering that humans over time in this case have demanded for evidence, demanded for some kind of proof, people finally got it, right? Response-wise, what does J. Chuck say? I don't think Sharon is capable of a complex scheme, maybe a fellow like Kenny, but not Sharon, who can't control her tears on camera. Only some fellow will coldly plan a scheme, not like Sharon, right? Sharon could not have manipulated Kenny. It could only be the other way around. Can't twist a simple girl on that HLN into some deep scheme planner. The nature of Kenny as a deep thinker and tinkerer and inventor of gadgets. Jeff Clark, you're soft-hearted when it comes to these women. I'm just the facts guy when it comes to this mystery. Sharon knew it was unethical for someone in her profession to be dating a much younger guy who she herself claims had mental problems. They have very different natures. Some scheming criminal man mind and an innocent girl crying go to some whatever versus, and you see big difference of nature. Sharon sharing her nature with genuine emotion. She's clearly emotional, and Kenny a cold and logical tinkering, inventing person with a plan for selling his house with himself, living in it in a cold scheme with his great gadgets. Only Kenny could manipulate Sharon. I don't think so. I think Sharon had a mind of her own, and she knew what she was doing in life, and she was somewhat of a successful individual back then when you look at her past, and that when Kenny may have been vulnerable or was moving out and needed a house or may have been struggling, Sharon wasn't easily manipulated in terms of helping Kenny or feeling that she owed him something. You know, Sharon did her own thing from the looks of the relationship, so I don't think there was manipulation there. If they were, you know, if they're on side with one another or in the same mindset, I don't think there's much manipulation. But let's just move on to Atari's comment here where the problems start. So Atari says, that police report has been online for years now. If you search, you will see it. And yes, he voluntarily disappeared. Nothing new under the sun. So basically, Atari wasn't too pleased by my research and wasn't really impressed because it's, you know, been there, done that. It's already been demonstrated in the past. But how come there are really no videos on YouTube that cover that police report? I think later on Atari states that she did, but it's no longer there. Well, that's not helpful, is it? Take in mind, when it comes to a particular platform, you can be the first and only one to cover something. Online in general, it might be out there somewhere, but are people willing to search for it? Maybe not. Is it easy to find? Maybe for some, and maybe for others, not so much. If there is a place and an access point where key information and research can be provided to the general public for research purposes and learning about the case, then why not do it, right? And YouTube is a good platform for that. Now, in the eyes of other people out there that have never heard of this police report and then come across it on my channel, it could be seen as a first time, you know, a first time observation in it being posted out there, okay? But let's just see what comes up here. The voluntary disappearance says it all on the police report. Atari says, yep, been trying to tell you guys for years now. I believe I even put this bit in my older, now private videos. He is alive and disappeared. voluntarily. For many reasons, again, this is nothing new under the sun. But it would be new for the general public that come across this case for the first time ever, who can't see the research because you privatise your videos. Hence why I step in and I do it at my own pace, right place, right time, and then people learn. This shouldn't be an issue. Take in mind, Atari, at least with some of the research that I've covered, I've not been saying this is the first time ever, that I'm the only one doing it, that this is it, groundbreaking. I'm not always stating that, am I, Atari? I mean, what about those text conversations and those private emails with Susan Veach and the CNN guy and the search and rescue commander, in which Susan gave me permission to use those screenshots to present to the general public and others in the past? That's a first time viewing on YouTube. Did you do a video on that specifically? I believe that you've done your own research, of course, and you know, some people have reached out to you with time, with material, but I do strongly believe that there's been moments where things that I've covered, you've never covered before or thought of, right? Of course, it's harder to compare and contrast nowadays because your channel, you know, doesn't have that content anymore. Unfortunate, but I understand why, and I'm sure it'll be explained later on in this comment thread. But let's move on. J. Chuck, it could also imply he voluntarily disappeared under shown circumstances of him being depressed. He voluntarily did the deed. That's a sidetracked angle that won't go away unless it stated more clearly the circumstances. Atari saying, nope, she is part of it and has been helping him. But there is so much more to it with her connections. Sean and Debbie Ray Veach are connected and have been for a long time now. I did the dirty work on finding so much. A lot has been deleted online, but I documented a lot of the findings through videos. You all just did not pay attention, and for that, you gotta look on your own. I won't share it because it will be just turned away and will once again receive threats. So for Atari here to say that because no one listened to me in the past, now it's tough shit. You do your own research. You spend your own time looking for it. I've done my part. I'm out now. Okay then. So why is Atari criticising me for the research or the coverage on my channel when it's done in different ways to how Atari did it? Atari is encouraging people to research and find out information which she researched, and that's what happens, and then she criticises them for doing it in their own way. That's very hypocritical, contradictory. Not good. Anyway, J. Chuck, not a critique of RAF at all, but I would have redacted a lot of portions on that police report, self-protection and other messages. There's reasons I would have redacted it like the way government does it. Well, I did redact certain key elements of certain individuals in that area, right? There's certain information which is completely invalid now, like the odd phone number and stuff, because it's no longer in use or in relation to Kenny. So some are dead-end streets, but where it could backfire, that's where things were, you know, censored. Respect to privacy. Even if the odd person is dodgy out there, you still do it because if they want to be nasty or a bit, you know, awkward, they could respond back, right? Anyway, J. Chuck, I won't comment on the additional details that Raf may or may not publish. I think he's a lie for sure, post 2014. But you know, if there is any details to the contrary, I'll search. I'm just waiting or someone or something to contradict Susan. Atari says, indeed so. I made the same mistake in the past, and also that is another reason why I privated it. This issue is like playing with fire. Sharon could get pissed off at one or more persons, and then you got some silly court case and who got insulted or fingers pointed the wrong way. Atari then says, yep, that is another reason I took those videos down. If you're smart to look into this case, you should be very wary what is shared for all to see. But she may also fight you on it. She has great influential connections, scary ones too, to hide the truth. Believe me, I got visits from her acquaintances who followed me and made himself known to me pretending to be someone else. There is more people connected who is pretending to feed lies. This case had gotten very, very scary, and not to mention it being watched by what looked like Kenny a few times. Documenting it on a video, it should, when I stopped looking into the case. Just wanted to mention the word identity thieves is part of this case, all the way from Nevada to Florida and Upper East Coast. That is all I will say. Sounds dodgy. Last, some hikers are in on it as well. So Atari isn't directly giving names, but Atari, I believe, mentioned Scott Natal is supposedly involved in the cover-up of Kenny Veach and faking it and all that type of stuff, putting props out there. I do remember Atari mentioning that in the past, but I guess nowadays Atari doesn't always resort to using specific names of individuals, but it seems obvious how she words it at times. Jeff Clark, voluntary simply means that Sharon told a cop he was not kidnapped against his will, means nothing. Jeff Clark also says, not sure that these hikers searchers are in on it. Two seem highly suspicious to me, but not to the point of being in on the original disappearance. I just think they're sketchy based off their statements and actions. J. Chuck says, Sharon is a simple girl. She was shown crying on camera. Such a woman is not capable of complicated scheme or a lie. But then you had the Dylan Rounds case where the mother, Candice Cooley, simply wasn't crying that much in the documentary or interviews, and people assumed that she was in on it. So really, it can vary from person to person. An individual can cry, but it doesn't mean to say that they're innocent. And a person that holds their emotions back doesn't mean to say that they're guilty, right? Anyway, Jeff Clark, responding to Jay Chucks, she was only 19 years older than Kenny and supposedly in the mental health field. She couches a lot of her answers because she doesn't want someone to bring up the ethics failure in her dating a much younger guy who claims has mental issues. The obvious observation is that she should have known better. I say, nope. On board, certified psychologist or psychiatrist or attorney might be confined by a strict code of ethics and conduct with clients, but not a life coach. A girl who can't control her emotions, burst out crying, is not going to scheme and think of what to say to some cop. Scheming and calculating does not match Sharon losing control on HR. She say the wrong thing on that day and you'll probably get beat down. No big deal. A girlfriend 25 years older than me would be ideal in my book. Right, okay. Unethical considering her profession and claims that Kenny had mental issues and her claims that she was wilderness hiking with Kenny. You know she was not hiking out there doing what Kenny does. True. And that's fine. I wouldn't get along with a faithful Christian or a faithful Buddhist. Right. Now, I'm sure there was a few more comments somewhere. Where was it now? Some hikers are in on it. She-male, so right. There's a bit about Sean Horlecker and Really Robin. One of those comments were deleted. Right. What I'm going to do quickly, I'm just going to have a quick look around in the background to see if I can find those additional comments. And if I can't, I'll come to my conclusion. Oh, well, look, I guess I found it in the end. It was actually on the community page of Atari. We'll just briefly have a look. Jeff Clark says, this popped up on my page. I assume it's about the In On It discussion on J Chuck's video. So we're following on from that, what we looked at just before. Original Really Robin and Scott Natal seem very sketchy to me, but I don't see any proof that they are in on it. However, I don't like the way Scott Natal tried to draw everyone away from the correct area early on by making unfounded and confusing statements about knowing insiders and never clearing it up later. As to Sharon, Ray and Debbie, I just don't see any way that they are of them benefiting by being in on a decade-long hoax with Kenny. I don't see any benefit to Kenny either if he hoaxed it. I think he did it himself and he headed south at the border to live a completely anonymous life forever, and I doubt he has never been back in the US. Right. Let's see what the responses are. Atari says, I agree with your answer. I did state, J Chuck, there is proof which was in my now privated videos. I've encouraged him to do research on his own. Things coming out is nothing new under the sun. I've made one video on one of the hikers you mentioned. I think more people should look for themselves. Most things are still available online, but many have been taken down once I put up those videos. Jeff Clark says, I don't remember that video of yours, but I could have missed it because you put them up and down very quick. Have to be careful about making too many assumptions and accusations just from online content, because it can get misleading or even outright false information. My concerns with those two are based on my own exchanges with them, some of which are still posted on his channel. Why he leaves those up for everyone to see how sketchy all that was is also baffling. He either doesn't care or he doesn't understand how bad that whole thing made him look and how dishonest. Atari says, yeah, I took them down for safety reasons, and yes, you're correct about assumptions. Research is absolute, and there's been trails that lead to certain people. A lot of Kenny's information was deleted as things were being brought up. There's those who like to talk without doing their own research, which is a smart patient if one can find it. I don't understand why things are being brought up when it was brought up a long time ago. Is it because certain people want to profit from it? Too much ego or stubbornness? I've asked questions to him, but he never responded. I agree with most of what you shared. You've been around the longest and have been up there after Sean's hikes anyways. Thanks for your response. Well, I've been following the Kenny Veach case since 2015. So there's that. Jeff Clark says, I think WarLike Ref is just rehashing things because of all the new people who follow his content. If you watch the live stream comments or look at his video comments, they don't know all the background information and they don't go and watch his earlier videos, no matter how many times WarLike Ref tells his viewers when providing links. Half of his subscribers come from different cases and are new to the M Cave. I don't mind the rehashing because a few of them might start searching for themselves like SB Vegas did. I even have new ideas pop into my head when watching the rehashes, like why didn't Kenny mention any of his loop hike features by name? Anyone looking at a map can see the pictures of Joe May, Wild Horse Pass and Pitcher Canyon, but he never mentions them at all. That seems odd to me. I don't mind anyone profiting at all because any online content takes time and effort and deserves to be compensated. Ad profits are being paid, so better a user gets the profits than giving it all to YouTube. They have billions already. I mean, where Jeff Clark says, I think WarLike Ref is just rehashing things. So basically, not really being original, just repeating himself over and over again because he's got, no new content to make. I mean, Jeff Clark was the one recently that advised me to do another map analysis of the same thing for people. So wouldn't that be considered rehashing stuff? For the most part of it, in recent time, arguably speaking, I have been more consistent, more active than ever seen before. When talking about 2020 to 2021 and early 2022, I was uploading videos on the Kenny Veach case every now and then, once or twice a week. There was only so much to cover. Then I went to the Dylan Rounds case in 2022 in July time, and I uploaded over 400 plus videos on that case, almost uploading a video every single day for 2 years straight, as there was stuff to cover. Yes, there was times of looking back at stuff to make sense of things and look at it from different angles and perspectives, but it doesn't exactly mean rehashing. And then 2023, still with Dylan Rounds, but then branching away back to Kenny Veach. And more so in recent time, the last few months, I have actually uploaded more Kenny Veach videos on a consistent day-to-day basis than I have ever done in my lifetime when covering this case, right? Highlighting important findings, from J Chuck going out there and finding that Joe May Road was closed, to finding out weird track marks as if a helicopter landed just outside of the M Cave, or the police report presenting it to the general public who may have not seen it beforehand, and highlighting the proof there that when Kenny Veach was truly reported is different to what the girlfriend claimed, right? So, and there's many other videos, right? It's hard to keep up with it all. I can't remember every single video that I've covered in recent time, but there's been a lot of new stuff. Even archiving Really Robin's original hike out there. That was done too, Maybe more now. More references to material, usage, reference points, things being reinforced, strange happenings, strange findings, new discoveries, new findings with old footage. It's not rehashing, okay? You could call it recycling, okay? You got footage from the past, you look back at it with a different angle, a different viewpoint, a different perspective. You pick up on stuff now which you didn't back then. So it's new. You can have a new finding, a new discovery, a new video on old footage, which has been analysed differently in the past. So I wouldn't say it's rehashed, okay? The only times when things have been rehashed is with the map analysis of telling people, here is that, that's what happened there, basically. When it comes to the short videos, whether people watch them or not, that's done to reach out to new people that have no clue or who don't bother researching this case. It targets a wider, broader range of people, so that's why I do that part. But yeah, I'd say been really hard-hitting in recent time. I think some of the newer viewers or people that have come from the Dylan Rounds case appreciates that and can see and acknowledge it too, which is good. But let's just move on. Atari says, I understand what you say, but there are things that pissed off Sean, Horlacher, and really Robin, as well as what he, I guess WarLike Raf, did to me. That is why I know profiting from and taking credit for him is top priority for WarLike Raf. It has been this way for a long time, and it's not because of his new viewers. It's in his actions in community posts where WarLike Raf is so vain at how many views and subscribers he has when he posts that not many people are looking at his videos. I like your fairness though. There's just some things, not everything is mentioned behind the scenes that the public are not aware of with this case. Sounds a bit dodgy. So Atari is basically saying that WarLike Raf has pissed off Sean Horlacher and really Robin. But in what ways exactly? When it comes to Sean Horlacher, well, actually, do you know what? We'll do a face-to-face explanation in a second. Don't go anywhere. And as for the some rats in the background, if there are any, don't go anywhere. We'll discuss this face-to-face in a second. No messing about. What does it say? Jeff Clark, Raf is British. I'm not British. I'm English. Okay? Sees things and comes off different to others. Right. They have different senses of humour as well. Well, I'd say that my sense of humour is different to the typical British sense of humour. Okay, mine's a bit more wider, a bit more deeper, and a lot of depth behind it. And I've extensively demonstrated that in my other videos, completely different, unrelated. Okay? Anything else? Right, so that's about other stuff, whether he's defending me or not. Shout out to Jeff Claw for balancing things out there, I guess. We all have arguments and clashes with each other at various times, but it usually works out itself. Everyone just starts over. Sean has gotten pissed at me before and said I forced him to take one of his long breaks from the case because of all my questions. He once wouldn't give me any directions and just said, go look for yourself, which almost caused me to die out there, but we got over it. And the original Really Robin, no one has an idea of what he was actually up to, and me and Susan are like oil and water. We just like to see this all solved and don't care who actually does it. Okay, well worded. Thanks, Jeff, for this. So maybe Jeff Clark's comment has put into perspective for Atari in looking at things in a different way. But besides this making up process or this natural understanding with time, it is now time for WarLike Raf to defend himself. So, reality is, as a whole, in general, when it comes to the Kenny Veach case, Kenny Veach community, in general, a fair few people out there, it is harder to please people, okay? People are harder to please in this community when it comes to ideas and thoughts being put across. People are very demanding of evidence and proof at times. Certain ones are, okay? But it's that concept of when people get what they want, when people have demanded for proof and evidence and it has been put across, it's still not good enough. And then people then backtrack and say, oh, it's not good enough evidence. Oh, it's not good enough proof. It doesn't convince me enough. I need more. I need something else. So then you give them something else. No, it's still not enough. Hard to please people. When it came to the Dylan Rounds case and community, as toxic as it can be, the regulars, viewers and stuff, had a good understanding of ideas, okay? I fully understand at the end of the day, evidence is needed in formal situations, important times. Evidence is necessary, evidence is key. But on a more semi-casual basis and interactions with the general public, those times and moments where people can be on the same wavelength as you and understand what you're getting at and even believe in you, even when there's times of no evidence, those people need to be respected and highlighted, because it's very good of people to be able to be on that wavelength, to understand someone's inner thoughts and ideas, even when there's just not enough material to prove it. Because there will be times and moments in life where someone will know something and will be right, but they just don't have the proof to convince the masses. And then eventually something does happen, then it's too late, and then everybody realises, oh, that individual was right all along, but because of the evidence along the way lacking, it couldn't convince us or pull us over. But here and there you will get some that will follow and understand. But it's not the act of following like a sheep. It's being in line with another individual, in line with thought, okay? In line with ideas. all natural, not forced, just like the Dylan Rouse case community demonstrated. But with the Kenny Veach case, a lot deeper, a bit more complex, a bit more in depth. Is there as many egos or characters? Not quite in that sense, but there's an opening, chances of many different people changing in behaviour with time. I've documented it. So for all the people that come from the Dylan Rouse case, and you wonder how I was able to predict just about everything, how things play out, how people break up, how communities out there implode, and people then cause drama between one another, and then people act as spies, then people go from one community to another, and then backtrack afterwards. They all kiss, make up, like nothing ever happened, and then it all goes wrong again. I was able to predict a lot of that and the downfall in humans because I've seen the downfall in humans in the Kenny Veach case. Key individuals that have changed and shifted with behaviour, right? When you look at J Chuck could be considered as a rough, wild desert dog, like how he describes himself. Not perfect, but he, is hardworking and gets involved and stuck in. I think J Chuck at times may have said that the way he considers himself, or the way people might consider him, as being a bit crazy or a bit wild, whatever. Not coming from my mouth, but from what others or what he himself has said when reflecting in his videos. But even if that was the case, he's consistent with that basis, right? But when you get someone like Artari, at the time showing a bit of empathy and understanding from a different range of points of views, doing the research, but then also supporting others and with ideas and stuff, to then go from suddenly becoming a bit bitchy at times, very defensive, over-emotional, removing content, highlighting it, changing it. Yeah, it's a bit abrupt and a bit erratic. I can understand why things were eventually privatized because of, protecting one's safety and the safety of one's family. That's a normal thing to do long term. It's understandable. But the process of it before context was given, it's a bit all over the place. It's a bit strange, the changes and everything, right? You saw me. The moment I did a video with the camera facing the opposite way, so the lighting was shit and it was dark, not how it was planned or imagined, people then suddenly thought I was in witness protection program just because of the poor lighting. And then another time because the wardrobe door was half open. Is WarLike Ref hiding a body in there? You know what I'm saying? And another time, the doorknob too high up and something near to it. Is someone being is it some kind of zombie apocalypse trying to prevent someone from breaking in? All kinds of weird stuff. The slightest of change in the Kenny Veach case can alert people to go down all kinds of pathways and routes. And obviously, when people have tried analysing me, it's obviously failed just about every time, okay? One separates all from others when it comes to analysis, when it comes to observations on humans, okay? Some people say it's complaining, whinging, whining. There's a difference between that and then making observations and making valid ones. People can make observations in general, and then one can make valid observations. They are different and the accuracy scores do differ, right? So it's not just, I'll just list, okay? For the people that aren't quite aware, I'll list all the people that have changed in behaviour with time, okay? This is going to be balanced. People aren't going to like it, but tough shit, okay? Atari showed empathy in the past, showed an understanding towards others and differing opinions, then suddenly became erratic, then suddenly becoming a bit bitchy and defensive, okay, and over-emotional. That's what happened, and ever since, a chip on the shoulder and some kind of grudge going and hatred towards WarLike Raf when it comes to researching the case, keeping the case alive, and presenting information and archived information which was removed over time, hiding the truth of the case, whether it be for the right reasons or the wrong reasons. At least I'm the one to step up and cover it and document it, whether it be the position that I'm able to or just because I feel like I can. Okay, at least someone is stepping up and at least someone is standing their ground for as long as possible. That itself should be highlighted and acknowledged, but clearly Atari fails to do that, okay? So Atari is the first one to change in behaviour. I'm not doing it in the exact order, take in mind, but that's one of the individuals to change in behaviour. Sean Horlacker changed in behaviour, okay? Went from all about the case, searching, doing discussions online, live streams, everybody is welcome, so then suddenly, happy, hippy dippy, let's start a brand new island out there and have some kind of scheme where we can all jump onto that island for so many months and all hang out and get together. Let's also talk about spirituality. Let's also talk about JFK still being alive till this day. Let's talk about QAnon and the Telegram text messages in the background and getting all political. Going away from the Kenny Veach case and more about all the other deep-rooted stuff going on in this world, supposedly. So that was a change in behaviour from all about the Kenny Veach case to then going down other darker pathways. And in between the time where Sean WarLike kind of turned on me, when I was simply pointing out to him, I was receiving some resistance, some dodgy, weird stuff was going on, and all he could say was, tough, you know, it's all on you. I'm out. I'm not going to help. I don't want anything to do with it. And I just thought it was strange because Sean at the time, or at least in the past, was all about the community. Everybody's welcome. All opinions and thoughts are welcome. Everything's fine. Come on in, share this, share that. It's all good. I'm really appreciative of people reaching out to me. And the moment someone does, someone like me, oh no, stop with all that. Not allowed. Well, that's a change of behaviour, right? Has he resumed back to normal behaviour since? I don't know. Maybe, maybe not. But there's a change there. Number 3, tree. Not a reference though. Really, Robin, changed in behaviour. About Kenny Veach early on, okay, I don't know if some people would say he's naive or whatever, or he knew what he was doing. He went out there in some way. He put effort in, physical boots on ground. And then the change of behaviour then was going quiet, deleting comments slowly, deleting videos slowly, and just disappearing for good after that. And then a fake account popping up later claiming to be him when it's not, when it could be, when it's not, when it could, when it's not. Yeah, that's really good. Being all suspicious, being all cryptic, yeah, definitely believable. You know, if you're going to present yourself with information, at least try and do it in I guess, a formal way. If you've got serious stuff to talk about, try and do it in a serious way, not like some kind of weird cryptic nature and stuff. Unless it might follow a theme of crypticness or some kind of code words for one's own safety. Is there anybody else that's changing behaviour? Do you know what? It's hard to keep up with. DJ Moore at some point changed in behaviour. Kind of in line with Atari, kind of in line with Bird Guts, Spain wins numero uno. I think DJ Moore, not DJ Reacts, different person, but DJ Moore did turn on me at one point, siding with Atari, calling me out, whilst in the process of Bird Guts, Spain wins numero uno, also known as Privilege, at one point with a pigeon profile picture, all the same person, but ended up, you know, defamation of character of WarLike Raph, spreading false, serious allegations of myself, and even trying to copy me, and at one point even using my own you know, videos from my channel, so copyright, yeah, and possibly as well, unless it was another account, impersonations of WarLike Raph. Everything, just about everything that I said there, I'm sure people from the Dylan Rounds case and community will know exactly what I'm referring to, because it's not my first time, is it? Okay, whilst that did happen first time, second time was in the Dylan Rounds case, where Salty Pancakes, different community, true crime, Dylan Rounds, not Kenny Veach. You had Salty Pancakes creating impersonation accounts of WarLike Raph at a certain point. And you also had people trying to paint WarLike Raph in a bad, negative picture and negative light. Wow, all angles, right? All different ways WarLike Raph is getting attacked. Many different ways WarLike Raph is receiving resistance. I wonder why, because WarLike Raph is the most consistent person, or one of the most consistent persons on this case covering it, or whichever case one is covering at the time. Maybe. You know, either because you're on the right track, getting too close to the truth, or some people see you as a nagging pain because you're around too often and too consistent. You can get resistance in many different ways, right? So yeah, changes in behaviour by those out there. I would say there was a slight change in behaviour by Jeff Clark as well, whether people will admit it or not. I noticed it, okay? Where it would be a form of pushy behaviour at a time of my absence and just wanting me to cover important points, okay. But that time where Jeff Clark mentioned that there was an old guy out there in Nevada in the mountains missing or so, and because I didn't cover it in time because I was too busy with other cases, And Jeff Clark urged me at the time to cover it, but I didn't. And he then said that, well, if he dies, the death is on you. The blood is on my hands. Well, that's very, very unnecessary, okay? Because the only hand that has blood on it is this one, and that's a decapitated hand, okay? Don't worry, it's not real before people start making conspiracies, okay? Yes, it is soft, okay? And it has been used in several videos with time. People in the Dylan Rounds community will know exactly what I'm talking about there. But if you need a helping hand, there you go. Nice to meet you, now piss off, okay? But linking back, okay, for the most part of it, Jeff Clark has been level-headed and he's remained that still and tried showing balance, maybe more balance than back then. Good to see. But there are times where Jeff Clark can get a little bit pushy and sometimes say unnecessary things, such as the blood is on your hands, as to me being the reason why someone died out there. Very unnecessary, okay? As said, it becomes a bidding war. Not directly through money, but through what people want, okay? I can be covering a case. I have a certain style and format. I'm not going to switch and change like washing the dishes multiple times because it'll ruin the flow and it will ruin the accuracy. If people demanded me to change it all up and I did, am I going to get praised? No, because then they'll be accusing me of not covering it deep enough or making mistakes. Hence why I do it my way, okay? Which is one at a time in a, uniformed order, okay? So that's just how it is there. Anyway, referring back, is there any other points? We'll link back to Atari. So Atari was saying how I pissed off Sean Horlacher, and that was because at the time back then I shared a screenshot of a text conversation between me and Sean, not an email as it was falsely worded in the past, but a text conversation in which I was simply highlighting the change in Sean's behaviour from my point of view. Take in mind, yes, using a screenshot may have not been it might have been an unpopular decision, but at the end of the day, if I simply made a video saying Sean Horlacher had changed in behaviour, he doesn't seem to care as much about the community as much now, I've been on the receiving end. If I made a video like that without any evidence to prove it, what would it have done? It wouldn't have gone anywhere. People wouldn't have believed in me. It would have been seen as me making false statements. If I've been on the receiving end of false allegations and then I do it myself, that is not going to look good on me. That's going to damage credibility. So I'm going to try and say something and it's an important point and a serious moment. I'm going to back it up, okay? And that's exactly what I did. But because I backed it up, it led to further resistance. So basically, it was a lose-lose situation, like many other times in the past when it comes to me. I do one thing, I get criticised. I do the opposite, I get criticised. I do the opposite, then the original, then the original, then the opposite, and I get criticised. Okay? Very simple as. Not exactly hard to understand. So I know my reality is different than others. The Matrix as well, inside out, go through the back door, not through the front door. And I guess ever since, turned upside down, we see the resistance, we see how people are. It is what it is, okay? So because I showed a different side to Sean Horlacher, because I am the master of revealing the true side of people, their dark sides, I've extensively witnessed it over time with several people out there, that whilst other people out there can see someone in a positive light, I see them in a negative light because they show their side to me. And unfortunately, I tend to be on the receiving end. So with suffering and pain comes knowledge gained. And whilst one can remain as the sacrificial lamb, a sacrifice made, then I can present it to the general public as to what people are really like in behaviour, both in Dylan Round's case and Kenny Veach. Once again, simple as. When it came to pissing off Really Robin, there's been no indication of Really Robin being pissed off, well, at least for the original, real Really Robin. Some fake impersonation account, someone completely different. With the cryptic nature and behaviour there and not showing one's face or voice, it's hard to take someone seriously, right? You claim that you are the original, but you won't prove it in a true sense, though it's hard to believe. You need to take in mind what I said earlier on, okay? Archiving footage to allow people to see it. Oh, it shouldn't be shown. It shouldn't be shown. Why should it not be shown? To hide the truth, to just repress the work and the documentation on this case, to learn less and go backwards in time. Yeah, that's really clever, that. No, it's not. No, it's not. It's not clever. Now, moving on to the next point, where Atari was saying how WarLike Raf is bragging about his views, about his subscribers. So that would clearly identify that although Atari is well and done with WarLike Raf, at a time of when I wasn't really covering the Kenny Veach case, but I was covering Dylan Rounds, what, Atari was watching in the background, lurking in the darkness? Unless there was a secret informant or two passing on messages. But regardless, when it came to community posts as of like recent times saying, oh, here's a screenshot of the amount of views I got last month or the month before or overall in the year. There are times and moments where YouTube send emails, updates of how your channel is performing. Even YouTube encourages you to share it with your viewers. Okay? Even YouTube of all people who, you know, some people say are a bit dodgy and censoring and all that, and yet it's all about encouraging transparency. Here's this, here's that. As for like views or subscribers, likes, dislikes and stuff, why not share it? Now, the bit about bragging, okay? If you label someone as bragging about something, what? You upload a photo of, oh, here's my car, or here's my shoe collection. Look at how much I've got. Look how great I am. I'm better than everybody else. If that's how it came across in the photo or the caption of the photo. But when you look back at the photos, the post on my channel, it's basically saying more growth than ever, positive to see, much appreciated, shout out to the general public, shout out for the viewers that have watched along the way, and shout out to the people that have shown support too. You know, I've lost track of how many times I've gave shout outs to people and viewers in general, okay? In better words, Atari, what you accuse me of is false, okay? But what I have actually done is present and demonstrate that the reason as to why I am where I am is because of viewers, because of people that watch, and also acknowledging it at the same time, okay? Without the viewers, the channel would be a lot different, wouldn't it? Okay? So you can still highlight and show growth or milestones. There's nothing wrong with that if it's positive. I thought positive is all good. I thought we're supposed to encourage positivity. No, we're not all of a sudden. Remember, when WarLike Raf is positive, he's criticised for it. And then when WarLike Raf is negative, he's criticised for it. When WarLike Raf is negative, he's advised to be positive. And when WarLike Raf is positive, he's advised to be more realistic. Lose-lose situation. I know some of this might not make much sense, but I know exactly because I've done extensive videos in the past, even before I was doing cases and mysteries. I got an idea how certain elements of life works, okay? And also with experience from a young age in a short span of time, much greater than now other experiences out there, okay? It is what it is. It's unfortunate. It's dark reality. Maybe I'll do a dark reality video in the future once again. We'll see how things play out there. But some strange points by Atari. Was there anything else mentioned? I said it's hard to keep up with it all, okay? You go from Dylan Rounds and all that to absorbing it to now this. Yeah, it's going to be somewhat limited because there's only so much you can take in. There seems to be all kinds of tension. Okay, so in the Dylan Rounds case, there was sexual frustration building up. People couldn't penetrate through my channel. People wanted to appear on panel, talk, get in there. They couldn't. They weren't allowed to. I didn't allow it. They got frustrated. Wah, throw the toys out the pram. Wah, can't have mods, can't be a mod. Wah, can't take control. Can't, implement my domination, so whatever. Okay, but when it comes to the Kenny Veach cases, it's the same there. Well, no, not quite sexual frustration, but obsessions. Clear, deep-rooted obsessions and grudges towards me, which some people have, and it's kind of odd, especially those out there that didn't have problems but now do, okay? But as we've seen, just like in the Dylan Rounds case, people were fine with me and then suddenly they had problems with me when it didn't suit them, but it did suit them at another point. So they were hypocrites, okay? As I said, when it comes to hypocrites, there can be a lost cause. So it's just all about implementing these keywords, these key terms, these plans, these predictions with time. So it's more time efficient than ever as time goes on. You can adapt with time, and that's what's been demonstrated now, okay? But the formal procedure of defending oneself will remain when it's needed and necessary, okay? So in short, the reality is the reason why there's been conflict, drama, And why WarLike Raf has been called out once again in recent time is because WarLike Raf has been uploading videos on the Kenny Veach case and has been covering key important research to do with the case. Supposedly, some of it at least just so happens to have been covered by Atari in the past. But in the eyes of others, it would be hard to believe when they can't see it for themselves because either the videos are privatized or have been taken down. Whilst understandably, I get why she took them down, it doesn't do much for the case itself. It doesn't do much for the learning and progression from others that come along the way, okay? So what's the harm in somebody else stepping up and at least giving a chance for people to learn about the case, okay? And done in different styles. Whether Jeff Clark classifies it as rehashing when it's not really, whether Atari says, been there, done that, nothing new. It's all very impetuous behaviour. And I didn't think I would come round to this cycle, but it looks like here we are once again. So when people talked about the impetuous counter, the egocentric counter, looks like that could be rolling in anytime soon, right? Because the behaviour by some people in this case, very impetuous behaviour, okay? Very egocentric, lacking reasoning ability, lacking thoughts, lacking the pre-operational concrete stages of development as a child in the formal operations and learning about perspective awareness around. Looks like the Piaget concept did fail there, didn't work, understanding different points of views, how things work and how things are different from one another. That lacking of it leads to a failure in life of understanding certain concepts and grasping stuff, okay? What's my IQ at this moment in time? I don't know. Last time it was 116. Has it gone down since? Do you know what? There might be a time and place where it does go down if one is within an idiocracy, maybe. But that aside, reality is the videos and coverage on my channel more consistent than ever. 100% check. Okay? Deeper than ever? I'd say just as deep, but maybe a little bit more deeper with the experience from other cases I've done since. Looking at it from new angles and perspectives. It's led to people re-questioning and rethinking stuff through ever since, just like Jeff Clark, okay? You can have material, old, new, current, whatever, or futuristic. Some of it can be that deep that you can always go back to it. As I've always explained, that when it comes to material, footage, whatever, you can't see everything all at once, first time round, but you might pick up on more down the line when you keep looking back at it. It's not about, in this case, looking back at the same thing and mentioning the same thing. It's about looking back at old stuff, but then seeing it from other perspectives, or deeper reasons behind it, or sub-factors, right? There's stuff that I've acknowledged or picked up on in recent time, or what others have picked up on and have credited as well for their findings, which have never been mentioned back in the past, but they have been mentioned now, right? There can be a lot of depth to all this material, but you're not going to know immediately, but you might down the line. So it's not rehashing, it's looking at it from a different perspective, a new angle, which then reveals new findings. New is new. Very self-explanatory, okay? Was there anything else to defend myself on? Well, there could be more and more and more, but there's only so much one can do, right, and think of on the spot. Just once again that there's resistance and there are changes in behaviour from people. I'm sure there'll be messengers in the background that will pass things on back and forth. Once again, is this case as toxic as the Dylan Rounds one? Maybe not, but it's still a little bit petty and a little bit dodgy at times with the characters within it. Okay? I mean, when you put aside the actual boots on ground, footage and searches, just ask yourself one question. When it comes to regular coverage on the case as a whole, put aside me. Who else is doing it? Second question. If one removed themselves from this case, how do you think it would go? Would it be quiet or not? Let that sink in. And for some, you look back and reflect on the Dylan Rounds case. You see how that's gone and how others have stepped away. What's it like? Quiet. Dead. The actual missing individual. Fading away, in a sense, at least on a certain platform. Maybe that will put things into perspective with other cases out there. Okay. You've seen the whole, what do you call it? High demand at times. You do well at something, or you do it on a consistent basis, it could lead to criticism. You suddenly stop, and then there's an absence, and then there's panic, there's worry, there's a demand, come back on a leash. There's that too. Okay? I've seen certain human behavior of time over and over again, predictions and predictions and predictions. Am I going to make any predictions at this moment in time with this case? Not at the moment, because I've only just done recent predictions with the other one and the true crime community, but there's ever a time where there needs to be a video made, I'll do that. But in general, be on the lookout for videos on my channel, random ones that might come, and short videos in between. Overall, hopefully you enjoyed this video and maybe you found it interesting. Feel free to like, share the video to spread awareness on the case, and hopefully there was enough time for you to share your thoughts and talk amongst each other in the live chat. That's it for now. Good night and goodbye.